Python developers are responsible for coding, designing, deploying, and debugging development projects, typically on the server side or backend. Their role can span across a wide variety of duties, as the specifics of this job vary based on the needs of the employer. They might be asked to create websites and applications, design frameworks for codes, build tools, or publish new services. Nevertheless, some Python developers work as independent contractors instead of being exclusive to one company. Owing to its popularity, Python is now used in web development, machine learning, artificial intelligence, scientific computing, and academic research as well. It is also being used by companies like Netflix, Google, Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, and many more. So if you hear the little voice at the back of your head asking you to learn more about Python development jobs and have a broad idea of what's happening out there, then you have arrived at your destination. We are going to serve all that you need to know right on your screen. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video with any queries or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.
Hello everybody, welcome to this video where you'll be learning regarding BYJU'S. BYJU'S is nothing but what are the different options you have if you have the knowledge of Python in order to choose your job. So let's quickly see the agenda of this video. The first thing you have to know why you have to study Python. People who are beginners, people who are in confusion state, why I have to start Python, what are the different options I start Python. So everything is answered here. So first you have to know why you have to learn Python. After learning Python, where do you implement the knowledge? What are the different applications of Python? What are the different domains you have to choose for your job role? So everything is discussed in application of Python. Next, what to choose? After knowing the application domains, everything, what are the different job roles you have? What are the companies that offer you a job depending upon your Python knowledge, and what are the different domains you have? Also, what is the salary structure for a beginner, for an intermediate, and for an experienced person? So a complete knowledge is being given in what to choose. After that, person who is still in confusion state or person who is stuck in middle, so we are trying to guide them with the help of a roadmap in how to start, right? So it has a simple step to start learning Python. So everything has been covered in this video. Then why wait? Let's start. While there is a lots of programming language out there, why you have to study Python is the question. So answering this question, let's quickly start. Why Python? So according to IEEE Spectrum 2021, Python is considered as a #1 programming language which is used in a wide variety of web applications, mobile applications, embedded systems, and enterprise systems, right? So you have wide variety of implementation of Python, ranking #1 in amongst all the programming languages, right? So it is simple and easy to understand. So person who have to start learning Python need not have any coding knowledge prior, right? So it is very simple and having English-like syntaxes where you can remember easily, and you have lots and lots of support system. You have community where Python knowledge sharing will happen, right? It might be HackerEarth, it might be Python developers. So you have various kind of community. If you rise up the questions, many experts will answer your question and give you some guidance in order to solve the problem statement or wherever you are stuck. Beyond that, you also have 100 plus Python frameworks, libraries available. Say whatever you are trying to work on, you have to opt for a particular library and download that to your Python framework and start working. So that's about it. The libraries are already built where you can just readily use that particular library which is there in Python. So you have 100 plus, might be 200 plus libraries which is already featured on Python framework. So beyond that, the Python language is told to be versatile, efficient, reliable, flexible, and having good speed, right? So versatility is nothing but adaptability. It can adapt to the environment which you are trying to put up. It can be integrated with some other applications as well. Efficiency comes up with having a good programming structure, right? Having a good auto intelligence and a nice framework where you can develop certain workable applications, which is used to address certain problem statements. So, reliability and flexibility. You can also give the versions of your particular application. Say, for example, you have developed a simple addition application. You can also add subtraction, multiplication, make it as an arithmetic operation. So, you can have version 1, version 2, and so on. So, it has the flexibility to adjust to the older system developed or older application developed to the newer versions and newer features added onto it. So apart from this, Python also has speed, right? When there is a library which has been integrated into the system and you just have to call it, not externally connect something to it, so it will automatically give you the speed. The speed is nothing but the speed of execution of the program or the application, right? Using Python, if you have built an application, how fast it is in order to address the problem statement of the user, that is where the speed is being calculated. After that, you also have the implementation of Python in various domains like cloud computing, like machine learning, big data, data science, anything you name it, you have existence of Python there. So apart from that, it is also known as number one coding language. I mean, we prefer in order to code in Python. The reasons are various. It might be easy for some people, it is very feasible, flexible, versatile. So, as I mentioned, so some people find any of one feature and they try to adapt to that. The knowledge of Python they'll try to share with the help of their application built with the coding language. So, apart from that, Python is learnt in academics as well. So, as a common programming language, just like C, C++, Java, Python has also been kept for degree students, undergraduate students, postgraduate students. So even in the schoolings as well as an academic computer science subject. So this is all about why you have to study Python. So let's see what are the different applications of Python are. So Python is used in various domains. Listing few of them, we first use Python in web development. So by using Django and Flask, Bottle, many other framework, we try to develop front end of the website by using these framework in Python. Okay. So apart from web development, we also do software development, scripting, web scraping. It is also used in data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning to develop games and also to develop Android apps. So everything is possible by using Python, right? Python acts like an all-rounder. So web scraping, I have to tell you, web scraping is not ethical hacking. Okay, so ethical hacking is different and web scraping is different. I'll tell you what is web scraping. Generally, the publicly available data is being scraped. That's about it. We are not barging into anybody's private data. Anything which is available on the internet, visible to everybody, we are scraping those content. It is known as web scraping. Okay, we use beautiful soup, scrapey, selenium in order to do this work in Python, right? So apart from that, it is also used for scripting. Scripting in the sense backend programming or software developing. So we use DevOps, Docker, Kubernetes, and Jinja, right? So we have all these broad frameworks where we are working in order to script something by using Python, right? Apart from that, it is also used in booming domains, that is data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So we also have option of game development in Python. So in data science, let's see, we use a famous framework called Matplot library, and Seaborn, Data Shader, Skippy, NumPy, Pandas. You have so many libraries to work with. So in artificial intelligence and machine learning, we are using TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras, etc. Right? So we have lots and lots of framework or the libraries by which uses Python. By using Python, we can do so many works. So after knowing the applications of Python in wide variety of domains, let's quickly check out what you have to choose, right? We are trying to introduce Python to you and the roadmap and the different kinds of jobs available. So everything has been discussed. To the next sector, what to choose, right? So you will be having certain confusion, right? What should I learn, what should I not learn, what is the future and how it goes, what is the domains which is using Python, and what are the different options, different paths we have. So let's quickly see what are the different paths you have and which you can choose, which you feel it is adaptable for you, right? So let's quickly see the path one. So as I told you, Python is majorly used for development. So Python developer is a first path you can try on. So in Python development, you have two different classification or types. Either you can work for front end or you can work for back end, right? Apart from this, if you want to combine both, you can be a full stack developer, right? You have three options in order to go into a software development field, right? By learning Python, either you can have a front end job or a back end job or a full stack job. So this is how it goes. So let's see what does front end developer do. So front end developer generally does a website building and GUIs of apps and also web app logic, right? So how does a website work? If I click one button, where does that particular button lead us, redirect us? So the complete web logic has been designed by front-end Python developer or web developer, right? So apart from this, you have one more option, that is backend developer. So what does this backend developer do, right? Generally, once you try to fill up your details in a form which is available on the website, where does your data go? That's the question, right? The name, the address, the date of birth, phone number, email ID, whatever the credentials of the forms are, if you have put that up into the form, where does that go after submitting the form? It has to be stored in database, right? So whenever it is necessary, we have to retrieve the data. So in order to make this process ease, we have backend developers. Hope that's clear for everyone. So backend developer will generally script for server side, right? So server is nothing but it's kind of database or a medium between the user and the computer. It will fetch the data and it will show up to you whenever it is necessary, right? So you also have an option of code versioning as a backend developer. Testing and debugging is also done by them. So database knowledge should also be there for them. So you have lots and lots of work as a backend developer. Say if you want to be a full stack developer, then you have to know the technologies which is used for front end development as well as back end development. So let me quickly show you what are the different basic skill set you should have. It's not that I'm telling you this is the only skill set you should have. It is a basic skill set you should have. Fine. So Python developer skill set. So let's see. As a front-end developer, I've just given for both of them. I think I've given a skill set for full stack developer generally. So you can classify which one you got to learn if you want to choose between front-end or back-end development. Fine. So you have to know the basic knowledge about Django, Flask, and other Python frameworks. If you are into web development, front-end development, Django, Flask is necessary with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It is an add-on, right? So apart from that, if you're trying to script something, then you have to know RESTful APIs and web frameworks. So how does servers work and what are the different inputs you have to give for the server, right? So Python programming basic principles is necessary, right? You should know basically what is Python, how it works, how do you code in Python, etc. Apart from that, you have packaging, distribution, and deployment of code. You have to know how do you pack your code. I mean, not packing in a cardboard box. Yes. So it is just packing the code, right? You have to group the code and make it into one single folder or one single bulk zip folder where you can retrieve the data whenever it is necessary, retrieve the code whenever it is necessary. So apart from that, you have to have basic knowledge of database and object relational mapping, right? Object oriented programming you have to know in order to do relational mapping, and Mako and other server side languages, right? You have a famous language framework called Mako. Apart from that, you have to know many other server side languages. That is why I say it's difficult to become a full stack developer, because that person should be an all-rounder. The person should know the technologies which is very much used in front end as well as back end too. So Git, SVN, and other code versioning tools is also be learned, and it is very necessary. So these are the different developer skills which you have to know in order to get the job right? So apart from that, you have to also know what are the different salaries you get as an entry level person, as a mid-tier person, and also a experienced person, right? As a fresher, on an average, you are getting 4 lakh package, and as a mid-level, you are getting 9 lakh, again 11 lakhs if you are an experienced person. And this is an average salary. This is just approximation salary, and it depends upon companies, it depends upon your job role, it depends upon your experience level. Okay, so I have named few of the companies who are offering as the web developer jobs within them. That might be Cognizant, TCS, HP, etc. It's not only these three, you have many more companies who are working on the Python projects, right? So that is a wide idea regarding Python development, what happens and how it works, what are the different skill set you have to have, right? So apart from that, let's quickly check out what are the part two we have to know. So if you are not a person who wants to code, or who wants to know the software development front end or back end, so if you want to know something beyond that or something different apart from coding and stuff, just try to go to data science, right? You again have two options there. Either you can be a data scientist or you can be a data analyst, right? So data scientist, what all that person does as an individual, let's check out. So data scientist should do data collection, analysis, cleaning up of data, processing, data visualization, building business models. So these are the basic key responsibilities as a data scientist. If you are a data analyst, so what happens here? You have to interpret data, you have to analyze the findings, you have to optimize the data, you have to quality control the plans. So these are the basic works where the data scientist will do what the data analyst will do, right? So this is path number 2, right? What are the different kinds of skill set you have to have in order to work with Python in data science domain, right? So let's check out. So as a data analyst, you have to have the skill set of programming, right? It's not that you will not code. It is different compared to Python development, but you have to have that programming skills, right? It has to be strong. You have to know either Python or R or Java or sometimes C++, it depends upon. So again, you have to have two important major skill set, Excel and SQL databases. It should be very strong in order to how to work as a data analyst. You have to have that strong particular basics or foundation, right? So apart from that, you have to know Tableau and Power BI, SAS. These are the skill set which is required. And also you have to know how to data visualize. So these are the basic and broad skill set I'm telling. These are not only skill sets you have to have. Fine. So apart from that, you also have data scientist skill set here mentioned, because you are introduced to two different job roles here, right? So R, Python, Java, Scala, Julia, SQL, and MATLAB. So these are the must and should skills you have to know, at least basic. If not in the advanced level, you have to understand how you have to work with all these frameworks, right? So proficiency in probability and statistics, so linear algebra. So maths is very much necessary. I know people hesitate in order to get into maths, but yes, it is very necessary. Apart from that, you have to know Apache, Spark, Hadoop. Hadoop is usually used for big data. Nothing but we have to uh, like analyze, you have to filter the data, we have to store the data. So these are the frameworks you have to know as a data scientist. So these are the basic skills, at least in the level of in data science, machine learning, AI, that is Python, R, Java, C++. AI might have additional programming languages, but here in machine learning and data science, you also have only usage of Python, R more actually. Apart from that, you have signal processing techniques you have to know. So how do you process the data, the signals which is passed? So apart from that, the next part is how do you have to know the salary which is given for a fresher, for a mid-level person, and for an experienced person. So for a fresher, on an average, it is 5 lakhs, and for a mid-level, it is 11 lakhs, and for an experienced, it is 19 lakhs. So it depends upon the company, the designation, the role which is given to you, and experience. I'm repeating this again and again. So this is a broad, wide idea. This is not the only fixed salary. Okay. So apart from that, you have companies who are offering listed here. That is very much less, but you still have so many companies who are offering job on machine learning. So that is Siemens, Cred, American Express, Deloitte, etc. Right? So this is the wide path range you have, whether you have to choose between data science, machine learning, or become a developer by learning Python. It's up to you. So the next part is artificial intelligence. So again, you have to know how to convert machine learning models into APIs here. So how do you convert that particular models into working frame? So how do you make the machine think by itself is the work of artificial intelligence developer or an engineer, right? So automate the infrastructure used by data science team. So whatever the raw data that they are trying to process, how do you put that into working, right? That's the work of artificial intelligence. So how do you make the manual work which is tedious to do into a automated format by using machine learning and the thinking what the machine does, what it has to do, and then what is the result, right? So you also have to know statistical data analysis here. That is the only thing they'll do with data. They'll do analyzing, they do visualization, they do data classification generally, right? So apart from that, the person who is working under artificial intelligence should know, develop and maintain AI products. That is the major goal actually. They have to know how to how to run the product, how to just work with the product which is given for them as an artificial intelligence engineer or a developer. How do you make that efficient one, right? So that's about the artificial intelligence. And then what are the different skill sets you have to know in order to work in artificial intelligence domain with Python? So everything whatever I'm telling here is including Python. Okay. So again, here programming skills plays a very vital role. So Python, R, C++, Java, etc. Right? So these are the basic programming skills you have to know, the programming languages you have to know. Apart from that, you have linear algebra, statistics, and probability. You have to know again mathematics here, analytics here, statistics here, probability here. So it is very common for all three sectors. Either it might be data science, or it might be machine learning, or it might be artificial intelligence. So apart from that, you have big data framework you have to know. I mean, it might be Hadoop, it might be MongoDB, so depends upon. So again, you have to know the algorithms and frameworks which you're using, at least the basic knowledge of that. Then you have to get to know what are the different salary scales you have as a fresher, as a mid-level, as an experienced person in artificial intelligence domain. So on an average, you get as a fresher 8 lakhs per annum. So as a mid-level, you will get 15. As an experienced person, you get 20 lakhs. So it is again dependent upon the company, on the job role, and how much experience you have. So it depends and varies between location to location as well, right? So there are different companies listed here who is deeply working with artificial intelligence domain, that is Honeywell, Coforge, Tata, Bosch, and many more. So this is all about the wide range of paths you have majorly in Python. Apart from that, you also have two more paths. Let's quickly see. It is deep learning and image processing and graphical design applications. So here, what do you do when you go into deep learning domain? So you have to do audio processing and video processing, natural language processing. So it's just natural language processing is whatever the humans speak, the computer should understand. I'm giving you a broad way, broad understanding, right? How do you speak to Alexa? How do you speak to Google Echo, right? So it will trigger some of the algorithms and it will try to respond to our questions. The voice recognitions, the voice questions which we put up to them, they're connected to internet, they'll give the answers via that. So this is about deep learning. Apart from that, you have image processing, graphical design applications. So image processing is nothing but you have to, generally I tell you an example, face detection in your phones use image processing, and many other scientific applications use image processing, right? So 2D software is built by using Inkscape, PaintShop Pro. 3D is been built by using Blender, 3Ds Maya, and Cinema 4D, Lightwave, etc. There are different and wide variety of frameworks in order to work with graphical design applications, right? So this is all about the path you can choose if you want to hop into Python, and what are the different domains offering different kinds of what do you say, jobs or the roles for you to succeed by learning Python. So you can start as a beginner, then go to intermediate level, then go to advanced level, right? So you have so many opportunities out there in order to get into and explore, right? So let me tell you what are the different roles you are designated as, right? Depends upon senior level, junior level, level 1, level 2, etc. Generally, I have put up the wide variety of designations which is given to a person who have a knowledge of Python and which domain they are going into, right? So these are the different job roles. It might be Python developer, as I told you, full stack developer, software engineer, web developer, big data engineer, or data analyst, data scientist, so research scientist, AI engineer, so ML engineer. These are the different kinds of roles which is available or given to a person who have a knowledge of uh, Python plus which domain they are choosing into. So that's all about what to choose. Now we shall see how to start learning Python language. So the first step you have to start is to learn basics. Any of the programming language, please start learning theoretical part, the basics part, how to install, what are the different syntaxes you follow for that particular program. So it is important to have basics strong. If you don't have proper basics, then it is very difficult to implement that on coding platform, right? Both theory and practical is very important in programming language. So start with the basics of Python, right? How do you install? What is the IDE and where it is found? Download the integrated development environment from the official website, right? Presently, you have 3.10 as a current version of Python, which is free and it is open source, right? So apart from that, you have to decide which career path you have to choose. I gave you wide idea regarding what are the different domains we have in Python. So if you are a coding person, if you are fond of coding, then you can choose for Python development. Either there you will be having backend development, full stack development, front end development, and many more. Apart from that, if you don't want to code, you're not that coding person, you have to have the analytical ability, then try to go into data science domain, where you can be a data scientist or data analyst and so on. So you have wide options. Please choose the career path first. Why should you do that is because you should learn the programming language accordingly, right? The libraries and the frameworks are dedicated to that particular domain separately, right? Everyone cannot learn everything at a time. It should be step by step. So choose the career path which suits you first in Python. Okay. So apart from that, get your certification course done. Why? The reason comes, it should be paid or it should be non-paid. See, it depends upon you. So if you get paid certification course, what happens? You get wide variety of options to learn. You can get tutorials, you can get practical implementation like projects. You can also get a guide for interview bits. How do you attend interview bits? How do you crack interview questions? So all these helps will be given for you. If it is free, it's just video tutorials and you get a certificate. So make sure you take a proper certification on the course. The reason is it will add on to your resume, plus it will also let your theoretical and practical knowledge to an advanced level. Why not in academics? Yes, academics is also important. Equally, if you do an add-on course certification for the same subject which you want to make your career with, you can have the perks of standing out of the crowd, right? So even in great learning, you have a lot of option to learn regarding the full stack development, also software engineering, and all the technical and data science part. So please visit Great Learning Academy or Career School in order to get yourself enrolled. And Career School has a trial version. You can see what are the different courses, what are the different topics you have in the courses, everything, and then choose, right? So make sure you visit either of them or both of them accordingly, so you can choose and learn things online and get certification at the end, right? So this is about how to start. Next, what are the topics you have to learn, right? So people will be confused, what should I learn first? So start with the basics of Python, as I told you, the syntaxes, as well as how to install the IDE and how to work with IDE. Apart from that, start with variables, data types, operators, looping statements, and other concepts. So after that, it's very important to learn the data structures and algorithms. What are the different kinds of data structures we use in Python? What are the different algorithms we have in Python? So then comes dictionaries and lists. Also, you have tuples and stuff. So you start learning Python step by step. It's not that everything at a time, it doesn't work. Fine. So apart from that, conditional statement, looping statements, control structures, everything to be learned in detail. The only thing it changes is syntax. If loop is if loop everywhere, for loop is for loop everywhere, right? So the syntax is how it goes and how it takes the values is what you should learn. So apart from that, go with error handling, exception handling, file handling concepts. Then study about the databases in Python. So about functions, classes, objects, and inheritance is also important. Last comes the libraries and frameworks. This is where you have to decide which career path you have to choose. Right? For example, if you are learning web development, you have to be strong with Django, Flask, or Bottle, some frameworks which is exclusively dedicated to that particular domain, right? So it is important to choose what to learn, right? So after that, you have practical implementation of project, right? Whatever the theoretical part you learn, you have to implement that into solving a problem statement as a project. So this is how the roadmap for how to start learning Python works. Now we have come up to the summary part of this video. So what all did we learn in this video? Here it goes. So we learned regarding the reasons to learn Python, why you have to learn Python programming language. So apart from that, we also saw different applications of Python, where it is used, what are the different wider domains it has, and other details. Then we started showcasing the wide range of career options, right? According to the domains, what are the different job roles we have, what are the different salary structure for a fresher, for a experienced level person, for a intermediate level person, right? So we also learned what are the different companies which offer these kinds of jobs according to the domains. Might be a few companies being listed, but there are still more companies, but we had a touch of companies who are offering the job roles. So then at the last, we started to see what are the different kinds of job roles and the designation names. Apart from that, we also learned the roadmap for Python. How do you start learning Python? So, what are the different concepts you start with, and where do you have to end up? So, all these things were discussed in this video. Hope it was educative for you and it is useful for you. We'll meet up in the next video. Thank you.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video with any queries or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.